My name is Adam Lowitt. I'm a comedian. I work for The Daily Show, and you're watching the Pretentious Film Majors. They're kind of dicks.
How long before you started working at The Daily Show had you been doing stand-up comedy?
My stand-up isn't what got me the job at The Daily Show. My internship is what got me the job, but I did stand-up in college, and I did improv in college, so I guess by that logic, it would be 3-4 years, something like that. Yeah.
And how do you feel that doing stand-up kind of complements writing for The Daily Show or executive producing?
You know what it's like to read a room, and also about refining something, that from stand-up you understand, like, it's not first time out, that's it. You understand, like, it's all about writing and rewriting and writing and rewriting, and that everything is a slog, and just because that bit didn't work doesn't mean your next bit's not going to work. And I feel like that's The Daily Show, right? The Daily Show is every day we go out there with new, we try our best, and then whether it worked or didn't, we have to come back and do it all over again. And that's a pretty similar thing with stand-up, I think.
Is pretty much everyone in the room a stand-up or have some sort of stand-up
No, there's
background?
a handful of, we have people who have gotten there from journalism, from sketch comedy, from improv, from stand-up, from writing, from internships, like whatever it may be, and everyone sort of dabbles in different things. Yeah.
That's cool. Was it crazy adjusting to the pace when you first got hired from, like, just to work at the internship, and then when you actually got hired as a writer?
Well, I sort of moved my way up through the system. It wasn't like, I did an internship and then I became a writer. I had very different stages before I became a writer, where I was a production assistant and a segment producer and then a senior producer, all of these things, and sort of worked my way around. So it wasn't, especially coming up through the system, it's not really a shock because you've been there for a long time. It's sort of like, oh, is college crazy when you became a junior? You're like, not really, Yeah, you're used to it.
So over the past 13 years, how do you think your voice has kind of like grown, and how do you think The Daily Show's voice has grown and developed, and how have those worked together?
Probably just whatever I thought was funny when I was 22. Like, you have a lot of things that you think are funny, and you get to hone it. You get to, I think the stuff that I want to talk about now is probably a little more personal. When you're younger, you're almost embarrassed. You're afraid to talk about the embarrassing things in your life. And then as you get older and you watch someone like Louis C.K. or like Bill Burr, these people that some of my favorite comedians go on stage and talk about things that you're like, I can't believe this person is admitting that they do this in their personal life, whatever that might be. And you realize, like, people love those stories. They want to hear that stuff because everyone has a story about going to the airport, but does anyone have a story about whatever that thing is, that's going on with them? And everyone can kind of relate in a way. So I feel like just getting more confident to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about.
And how do you think that development of voice kind of translated into the transition from Jon Stewart to Trevor Noah?
I mean, they're kind of separate. I would just say that I would say the stand-up helps me, but it's not really like the defining force behind the success or my upward mobility at The Daily Show. I think it's more, they are separate, and I think one complements the other, but it's also a matter of just adaptability at the show.
So how would you say that, like, doing a show every day is really intense, especially when a lot of the same stuff is always in the news? Like, how do you get new material out of something like Donald Trump, who's just been a parade of ridiculousness for months and will continue to be? How do you keep that fresh?
I mean, the goal is having people on staff that have interesting ideas that, like, just because Trump says something doesn't mean we have to do it. So if we have a good idea about something that Trump said, like, let's do it. Also, it's really fun, like, we were doing some test shows with Trevor, and we were talking about the idea about how we were just going to, like, dabble in Trump a little bit. And during the test show, we just did a little bit with Jordan Klepper, one of the correspondents. And it was just a piece of Trump, and then we went away from it. And you could literally feel in the audience people going, but that's the thing we like. Why are you not talking about the thing we like anymore? And we went on to something else. And we're like, why are we sort of making it harder on ourselves? Like, here's this Trump thing. We really want to do it. It makes us laugh. Just do the thing. And but as far as new material, like, yeah, we're all just trying to come up with an interesting take, and push ourselves, like, oh, I've sort of seen that around. Maybe this is a different one. One of our writers, Lauren Sarver, came up with a great idea, which we did on the show. Did you see the bushfish headline instead of blackfish? Yeah. Right. So we're in a meeting, and Lauren pitched out, oh, like here's a guy who seems miserable, but it's his destiny to run for president, right? This has always been in the cards for him. It's kind of like Blackfish, about how these people are sort of trapped, but you have all these trainers going like, no, 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 they love it, they love it. And so the minute she said that, we're like, oh, that's really interesting. I haven't seen that framing device anywhere. So you just sort of write to that, and then you start doing a headline. You're like, yeah, this is a great joke, but does it fit in the mold of Jeb Bush is a trapped, killer whale? Like, I don't think so. So that'll just go to the side. But that's okay because you're so excited about the framing you have there.
So do you have any...
Better be a good one.
Oh, man.
In that case, no, go ahead. Do I have any?
I'm just going to go with the old standard. Do you have any advice for film students or people who want to go into comedy about just kind of breaking in and what to do, and just anything from your experience that you could tell?
Crank out more material, whatever it is. Just writing, and you did the internship, so it feels like just doing more of whatever it is you want to do on a daily basis will only make you better. Like if you're like, oh, I really want to be a basketball player, just go shoot hoops every single day, write comedy every day, do stand-up, do sketch, produce films. Like, it's never been easier to do all of these things. So I think repetition is key, and then you'll just get more confident because by the 1,000th time you've done something, you're not nervous about it. You feel you want to sort of understand yourself better than you did before. All of those things play into each other. And then take ayahuasca. That's always the good way to close your